Hey everyone, I feel like it's been so long since I've just sat here and talked to you guys, so this feels so good right now. So much has been happening for the past few weeks actually. You guys saw Jessica's vlog for her birthday, and then a week right after that was Anthony's birthday, and then the next day was my birthday. So there was just so many birthdays happening, and then just so much school stuff that kept me from making a video. Just so much has been going on, but there's something that I've been wanting to tell you guys, and some of you have noticed and some of you haven't, but because each time I get a new one, I always tell you guys. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, is my nose piercing. I pierced my nose. But you guys probably already knew by the title of this video. So a lot of people have asked me like how I pierced it, if I pierced it myself or if I've got it done. How I convinced my parents to let me pierce it, because when I pierced it I was 17, I wasn't 18 yet. So I'm gonna answer all that in this video. So as I told you guys before, my parents don't really like piercings. They don't let me have piercings. But there's always like ways that I get around it, and then they always like, end up accepting it. So if you guys haven't watched my belly button piercing video, I'll link that down below, because I did explain how I convinced my parents to let me pierce it, and now I convinced my parents to let me pierce my nose, and this is how it looks like. So I pierced it by myself, and I'll tell you guys why. But I've had it pierced for, let me check, for almost 3 weeks now. I pierced it on April 24th. That was a week before Jessica's birthday. That's how I know. So yeah, it's been about almost 3 weeks since I've had it, and it took me this long to tell you guys because I wanted to have it for a short while and then let you guys know if it's still hurting or not or anything. So I'm about to tell you guys that right now. But the reason I pierced it myself is because I actually have this little job, like my job. So what I do is I sell body jewelry, I sell the professional piercing needles, and you know, I sell this stuff, and I also do this stuff. Like most of my piercings, I've done it myself. I have 11 piercings, I believe. There's 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I have 11 piercings, and I've done 9 of them myself. So I don't use like safety pins or any of that stuff. I use the actual hollow needles that you're supposed to use. So to pierce my nose, I used the thinnest needle that I had, which was a 20 gauge needle that I'll show you guys right now. I kept this needle especially to show you guys. My needle came in this little packaging, and it comes like this. You take this part off. This is so that while it's in the packaging, the needle doesn't poke you. This is how it looks like. The end is really sharp, and then I don't know if you can tell, but the inside is hollow. So that is the needle that I used. Now that I showed you guys, I can throw it out. And about the little jewelry, like I said before, I sell body jewelry. I sell like every single kind. So I already had little nose studs. So I used one of mine for that. If you guys have me on Snapchat, then you guys know when I pierced it, because I did Snapchat it. If you guys want to know like any of those little side things that I do when I'm not on camera, then go ahead and follow me on Snapchat. I've been posting a lot on my story lately. My links and stuff will be down below. So the way that I convinced my parents to let me pierce it is because I know that I wanted to get a piercing. Like I do have a face piercing, which is my septum, but I don't wear it because my parents actually don't know about it. If you guys don't know what a septum piercing is, then go ahead and look it up. But I know that I wanted a piercing on my face that my parents knew about. And each time I asked my parents if I could get any facial piercings, they always say no because they don't like piercings. But I want to get something really small. So I was thinking, you know what, maybe I can convince my parents to let me pierce my nose. And it was kind of like one of those things where like if they said yes, I would be happy. If they said no, it was okay. So I ended up asking my mom. I was like, Mom, can I pierce my nose? And each time I ask her something like that, then she always tells me to ask my dad, because my dad usually says no. In this case, it was different because as soon as I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, if dad says yes about me getting my nose pierced, then can I get it pierced? And she was like, I don't know, go ask him. So I went to my dad and I asked him if I can pierce my nose, and I showed him the little stud. I showed him how small it was, and I showed him where it would go, and he was kind of iffy about it. But my dad, he like plays around a lot, he jokes around, and so he told me to get a quarter from the little dresser thing. So I brought him the quarter and we flipped the coin for it. If it landed on whatever I called, then I can get it, and if it landed on what he called, then I couldn't get it. So we like played a little bit. I kept losing, to be honest. He kept winning like over and over, and we just kept playing. And then my sister came, and then we got like 3 quarters, and it just became this big game of like the coin flipping. So it became like just a really fun, good time. And at the end, I won. Like the very last game, I won, and my dad was like, okay, you can pierce it, I just want you to be happy. So I'm like really thankful to have parents like this that like even if they don't like it, they still accept it and they still let me. So as soon as he said yes, I was like really happy, and I got on my things. And even though I knew how to pierce noses and stuff, I still did my research. So no matter what, before you do any of these things, especially at home, do your research, do like find out what you need and what you can and can't do during this, because you always find out more information each time you look it up. So that's what I did. I looked up more information for like half an hour or so, and then since I had my things, I had the needles and my stud, then I got in front of the mirror and I started piercing it. My nose piercing is probably the one that hurt the most. From a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, it was probably a 5 or a 6, and I do really good with pain. Like my belly button piercing didn't hurt at all, my ear piercings barely even hurt, but my nose, for some reason, it hurt. I did tear up a little bit. There was like little pictures and videos on Snapchat. Jessica also Snapchatted it. I ended up piercing it. Then right after, I went and I showed my mom. She wasn't too happy about it, and she told me to get a smaller stud. Like my stud was actually really small, but she told me to go get a smaller one. So I went to the mall and I got myself like the tiniest stud that I can get, which is the one that I'm wearing now, and it made her happier. And I had no problem getting a smaller stud, because as long as my mom was accepting that I had a nose piercing, I was happy with whatever I could put in it. Again, I'm really thankful to have parents that accept things that a lot of other parents don't accept, such as like piercings, dyeing hair, and that kind of stuff. So my stud has like the little thin point that just slides right into your nose. There's some that twist at the end so that they won't fall out, but mine is just completely straight. So a few days after having it, like when I sleep and stuff, I would notice it kept falling out. And since it was pretty new, I didn't want my hole to close overnight. So I went back to the mall and I got myself a hoop. This is the hoop that I got myself. So every night before I fall asleep, I take out my stud and I put my hoop in. A lot of people say that you're not supposed to change your jewelry right after getting it pierced, but I feel like everybody's different, because with every single one of my piercings, I've always like moved it around, touched it, you know, so that while it's healing, it doesn't tighten up around the jewelry, if you get what I'm saying. I guess everybody's different. Some people start touching it and messing around with their piercings, then they might get infected, but mine personally don't. So I'm able to like take it out and put it in every time. So like I said in the beginning, I've had it for almost 3 weeks now, and it doesn't hurt at all anymore. It kind of burns a little bit when I put the hoop in, because it's just a tiny... It got dark out of nowhere. But I put my hoop in, and then right when I wake up in the morning, I switch it out. I would keep my hoop in. Sorry if you hear Hazel drinking water. I would keep my hoop in all the time, but I feel like for me personally and my face, the stud looks better on me than the hoop. I feel like this is it for my video. I've told you guys everything. If you guys want to know like the cleaning process, and you want me to get into like more detail of like everything that happened, or if you want new tips and stuff, or how you can convince your parents to let you do any of these things, then just let me know and I'll be more than happy to make a video for you. Don't forget that my links and things are down below, so don't forget to check them out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and always remember to stay jazzy.